going to start off, you can start off in child's pose with the knees out wide, or if you prefer, I'm going to go for a little puppy pose today. So that's where the hips are lifted. You can still keep the big toes to touch, allowing the forehead to rest down on the ground. You can just feel that lovely stretch out through the shoulders. So you can send the sit bones towards the back end of the mat. You can lift the elbows off the ground if you're in that puppy pose. But if you're working through child's pose this morning, allow the hips to be heavy, shoulders be heavy, and just feel that breath working into the back space. So you can be quite active through the arms here. You could press down through the fingertips and slide the shoulder blades away in either of these two poses. That can feel quite nice if you've got tight shoulders, you've been sat down at a desk or working in that seated position, you feel like you need a bit more of a release through the shoulders. Just be taking 3 more lovely deep breaths. As you breathe in, just notice how the rib cage expands in order to facilitate that extra breath as you breathe in. And then release and soften on that breath out. So as you release your exhale, that's where the body wants to just let go and find a bit more room, a bit more space. 2 more breaths. Allowing the mind to settle, allowing the body to settle before we start our practice today. Your mind is racing. This is a perfect opportunity to let yourself forcibly slow down. Alrighty, from there, let's rise on up into an all fours pose. Tabletop, come on up. Walk the hands back underneath the hips, and then walk the knees in towards under the, knees under the hips and hips under the shoulders. So we're going to take a thread the needle pose here. So taking an inhale, rise up with the right arm, stretch out. Let's face the right fingers if you can. And then exhale, post behind the left wrist, really enjoying that snuggle down onto the right shoulder, extending the right fingers away over towards the left side of your space, resting the right side of the head or the right ear down on the ground. You can move the left arm out in front of you, or you can wheel it around behind the lower back, taking a little bind at the front of your right hip. So just here, still working on length through the spine. We're finding a bit of a twist now. Just enjoying a real sense of openness as you bring the heart over towards the left-hand side of the mat. Trying to keep the hips nice and steady there. Just enjoy the breath. Enjoy the stillness. 3, 2, and 1. Let's take this to the other side. Release the left hand. Plant it down underneath the left shoulder to support you as you come back up. Right hand plant. Inhale, left arm sweeps high. And again, just finding the gaze towards the left fingertips really helps open up there. Sliding the left arm underneath behind the right wrist. And again, taking any option with that right arm out in front or tucked into the left hip crease. Snuggling the right shoulder away as we lift with the heart, while trying to maintain that both hips are in line with the feet. Again, try and soften down through the shoulders, using the body weight to stretch out through the deltoids, through the big back muscles. 3, 2, 1. Slowly releasing, bring the right hand underneath the right shoulder. Well done, guys. Okay, from here, let's take tabletop with a cat-cow. So from here, pressing down through the fingertips, inhale, lift up through the chest, drop the belly down, shoulders release away from the ears. And exhale when you're ready, rounding through the spine. So we'll take a few flows through cat-cow, and we're going to take a lateral bend, so a C-shaping through the spine, where we move side to side. So flowing with the breath, finding your version of cat-cow. We've been doing this plenty of times, so if you want to take that more extended version as you round through the spine, you can always then sink the hips to the heels and scoop the chest along the floor into your cow pose. If that is your bag and that feels nice through the spine this morning, nice fluid motion wherever you are. Okay, 1 more flow, and then we're going to return back to tabletop. And extend out through the right leg. So shoot that right leg long. Try not to lean over to the left side. See if you can plant evenly through the hands. What we're going to do is we're going to take that right foot over behind us, tapping on the left side of our mat. We're going to have a little turn and peer at that left foot. We're pressing the right hip away towards the right side of the mat. And in that lovely C shape which I mentioned earlier, shoulders relaxed. For 3, 2, 1, gaze comes back to center, release the right leg back in line with the right hip, extend away through the left leg, inhale, and exhale, step behind, slowly C-shaping that spine as you gaze to have a look at your left big toe this time. You'll feel that great stretch down the left side of the body. Breathe into it for 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. Returning the gaze first and then the left leg. Let's tuck the toes, find down dog, scoop the sit bones nice and high. Spread out through the fingers. Hands shouldn't have moved, they should still be shoulder width apart. Pointer finger facing forward. Wrapping the upper arms in together gives you that stabilization through the shoulders. You can pedal out through the legs if you're feeling quite tight this morning. Most likely this will be your first downward facing dog of the day if you're joining us live, so just enjoy a bit of space there through your dog. Let the head hang heavy. Any free movement you like, just to start us off there. Awesome stuff. Well done for 3, 2, and 1. Gaze the thumbs, creep the toes forwards towards the thumbs, taking that flat back position. Hands can be down on the floor, you can move them up to the shins, anywhere along those shins, just in order to find that lovely squeeze through the belly and that nice strong back, nice and flat. So 3, well done. So our normal flex flow, we normally start off in a plank, which is where we're going after our warm-up. Working into balance, into lunge, hips, core, and then a bit of flamingo wildcard for you. Exhale, rolling down. Move the weight forward a little bit as you roll down into your forward fold. Not so much that you're lifting the heels up, but just so you can feel that extended stretch through the back of the legs. Let the head be super heavy. Again, if you want to catch the hands in the elbows in the hands, you can have a little sway around there. Just see how the body's feeling. Just notice. You don't have to label it. Oh, I'm stiff. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. Just be aware. Work with what you've got. Modify as you need throughout the session, as we always say. Try and throw different variations in there for you. So 3, 2, really breathing into that back space. And 1, let's start to slowly rise up, bend the knees, inhale, squeeze in through the core as we lift up strong into that extended mountain pose. Take a little back bend here if you want to, pressing the hips forward, gaze to the fingertips, and then rolling down. You can take the hands out wide, you can bring them through the heart center into this prayer pose, rolling all the way down, bringing the hands to plant, back underneath the shoulders once more. We're going to take a big step back with one foot, then the other. Then move the weight forward, squeezing in the upper arms, just hold here, and see how strong you're feeling in your plank today. So pressing the heels away, lifting up the kneecaps by engaging the quads, and then when you feel ready, start to exhale and lower your way down. Elbows scraping past the rib cage into that low plank, and then just hover here again. Gaze down so the back of the neck remains long. 3, 2, up dog. Inhale, squeeze and lift the chest. These can be down on the ground, or you can squeeze and lift if you like. Exhale your way back to down dog, rolling over the toes, feeling that nice stretch out through the top of the feet, and then have another little wiggle round through the hips. Drop the head right down, so the gaze should be towards the back of your mat, towards your toes. You can hold if you want. Think about that wrap through the upper arm, squeezing the biceps together. Find that engagement across the back of the shoulders. For 3, 2, and 1. Really finding our flow now. Look to the thumbs. If you want to hop it forwards this time, go ahead. Keep the hips high and the legs relatively straight if you can. Inhale, flat back. And exhale to refold. Let the head hang down. As before, think about moving that weight forward slightly in the feet. Have a play with it and see where it takes you. We've got a nice gorilla stretch for you at the end of our balance section, which is nice. So it's a variation on a forward fold. Now give me another 2 breaths, just hanging upside down here. Enjoy that flow of blood to the upper body, to the extremities. Okay, let's root to rise. Plant the feet, inhale, rise up tall, reach up. Awesome. And exhale, flowing all the way down. Nice and slow. As we come into our first sequence, hands plant, we step it back, and we're into downward facing dog. Little wiggle out here in your down dog. We're in a 3-legged dog, so as soon as you start to lift the limb, the temptation is to take the weight to one side. We're going to avoid that if we can. So when you're ready, on your next breath in, sweep up nice and high with that right leg. So the hip doesn't want to open towards the right hand side of the mat like it would do in a standing half move. We want to keep that pelvis facing forwards, shoulders back and down. If you can bring the left heel a little bit closer to the floor, as you feel strong in your three-legged dog. Think about those arms still. Press through the fingertips, squeeze the upper arms in. And breathe. Awesome stuff. For 3, 2, and 1. Let's start to slowly move that right knee towards the right elbow. So coming forward into a plank position. Right knee floats forward to the elbow. We're then going to slowly move it across to the left elbow. If this is too high for you, come down to move from wrist to wrist instead of elbow to elbow. We're really pressing into the upper back, so rounding through the shoulders. Core is really tight here as we slowly move from one side to the other. For another 3, 2, try and keep the hips low if you can. And 1. All right, take the weight into the right arm as you bring the right leg and come in towards a side plank. We're going to take that wrap around if you can. If you want to take any other side plank, you can. We're thinking about taking that cross-legged position. So bringing the right knee above the left, the right leg above the left knee is what I was trying to say. And just hanging out here in your side plank variation. Of course, you can put that right knee down. Of course, you can take another side plank variation if you wish. Okay, we're going to take this a little bit further. We're going to bring this left elbow to the right knee. So ready? We'll take 3 crunches. Bring it in, cross the body, and then you can extend that right foot. Inhale, squeeze. You can keep that right foot lifted the whole time. Make it really challenging. Another 1. After this one. Press his top off. It's too hot. Well done. All right, take the left hand down, put the right foot down, then just take the weight out of that right arm by taking fallen pyramid on the other side. The left foot has now come underneath the body, and the right hand is up to the air. Oh my goodness, I'm doing a Rosie. I've got my hands, my feet, my lefts and rights. You can see here, I'm just rotating through that right wrist. If you struggle with your wrist, you can always take these variations on your forearms. It's nice to give the wrist a little bit of action as well. So keep the hips squeezing high for another 3, 2, and 1. Now carefully start to lower down towards your bottom. We're going to take the legs out wide. We're now facing the back of the mat into this reverse plank position. So fingertips want to be facing towards your toes, and then going to start to squeeze and lift through the hips. So keeping the body nice and straight. See if you can press the big toes down towards the floor as you get the hips high, and then exhale, slowly bring your bum down towards the floor. So we're going to take 4 more of these. Inhale, squeeze, and exhale to lower. So you get that bit of heat building through the triceps and shoulders. Try and relax those shoulder blades down if you can. Lift, and slow lower. 2 more. Inhale, squeeze. And exhale, control to lower. Nice work. Last one. Inhale, squeeze. And exhale, release. Well done. Rolling over back onto your fronts. Coming back to downward facing dog. We're going to take that same flow on the other side. So set it up. Hands are shoulder width. Toes tuck. Hips lift. Into dog. And this time it's the left foot that lifts. Let's go. Left hip moves down towards the earth rather than opening out to the long side of the mat. It drops. And just give me a few breaths here in your 3-legged dog. Think about building solidly from the foundations, from the hands and the feet. And sequentially work your way up the body, listening to those pointers that have been given you on how to activate and make the most out of this pose. Okay, should we start with those elbow to knee or elbow to wrist switches? Good, let's have a little play. Inhale, slowly moving forwards, bringing the left elbow and the left knee together, and then moving across. Again, think about that rounding through the upper back, really separating the shoulder blades. As you do this, the core is going to have to work extra hard to find that lift. Keep moving from one side to the other if you can, and think about that transition into that cross leg. So we're turning towards the right side of the mat in a sec, crossing the left leg over the right, or any other variation that you choose. Here we go. Okay, so left hand plants underneath the left shoulder, rotate over towards the right hand side, then think about taking that crossover. Nice little variation to play around with, testing the balance and working with the breath here to keep that strength. Try not to wobble too much. For 3, 2, ready for that crossbody crunch. Right elbow, left knee, let's go. Crunch, so you can get them to kiss, and then extend the left leg out in front of the right foot. So squeeze, and then extend towards the back edge of the mat. And again, squeeze, and release. Got 1 more. Squeeze. Let's give that left wrist a break as we bring the right one down. Left foot plants, right foot shoots under as we enjoy a fallen pyramid. Cool, blimey, it's hot in here. Woo. This is training for us coming back to hot yoga. For 3, 2, 1. Drop the seat down. Let's have a go at some more of those reverse planks. So really building strength in the back body here. Fingertips towards the back of the mat. Let's just take 3 this time. Inhale, squeeze and lift. So you love lovely flat plank shape, just as if you were in your full normal plank, except this time we're flattening through the front body as we lift and squeeze the back body. Lower down with control. So don't just let your bum fall to the floor. I want you to squeeze, lift, and then squeeze to lower. Fabulous. Let's flip back the other way this time, maybe rolling the opposite side. Nice little rotation for the spine there as you move. Let's transition. Inhale, squeeze the belly, roll forwards. Find that lovely high plank. Exhale, come on down, low plank. And then push through, lifting up through the chest, finding your upward facing dog. So coming into a balanced section now. Again, take it as you find it. If you're wobbling today, don't worry about it. If you've got a brick, you might want to use that, or a block or something to hand. Okay, let's take the gaze to the thumbs, and either walk your way forwards, or nice soft landing as you hop forwards. Inhale, flat back, and exhale to fold release. So creating a little bit of space here in the back of the legs, which we're going to need for doing this next section. So just allow yourself a few more breaths just to hang out here. And release. Of course, you can have the knees a little bit softer if that works for you. And you don't have to bring the hands to the floor. It's literally finding a comfortable forward fold for you. So if your forward fold looks more like a halfway lift, that's fine. Just use the upper body as your counterweight here. Take another breath, and we're going to root through the feet as we rise up tall. Bend the knees, and up we come. Well done. Bring the hands together and exhale down to the heart center. We're going to start off with a pigeon chair. Take the left foot underneath the left hip, and just see how the balance is. Take the right foot off the floor, and then start to bring the right foot onto the left thigh. Above the kneecap, hands to the heart center. Inhale, and exhale. Keeping the knee firmly over that left ankle. We're going to sit down just as if we were sitting onto a chair. Now, the added advantage of having this right leg lifted is that we're really feeling this stretch into the right glute. We can press that right knee down towards the earth as we sink down a little bit more through the hips. So think about keeping the spine nice and tall rather than folding forwards on this one. So you're really tucking the pelvis under as you come down. If you want to make it a bit more challenging, take the arms up. As long as the shoulders don't come with, that's good. Awesome stuff. So really feeling your way into this left foot. As I said in your down dog, build from the base, build from those foundations. Squeezing in through the belly. Good stuff. You ready? We're going to transition into a half moon and maybe take a dancer bind if you're feeling it. So inhale, float up high. Whoop. Exhale, shoot the right leg out behind you and let this left arm float down, she says, wobbling, somewhere just in front of that left foot. Now you can bring yourself onto a block or something a bit higher up if you're feeling like you need to. Right hand comes to the right hip as we open this time with the hip towards the long right side of the mat. Keep kicking up high with that back leg. And if you're feeling okay with this, you could take the bind. So reaching for your right foot with the right hand. So this move here, as you take dancer, really press your hips forward. It's a fabulous quad stretch. Keep the heel moving in towards the bum. Remember to look where you feel comfortable. So you can look over to the horizon, look down, or you could look to the sky if you're really feeling it. Now this next move is very challenging on the balance, and I appreciate that it's not going to be for everyone. It might not even be for me today. We're going to look at extending the right leg long back into that half moon. I know the left leg might be feeling a bit tired. I'm going to have a go at extending the right arm and, oh, Jen, she's thought about it too much, the left arm. So taking that longer extended standing half moon. Okay, so it might be that you have the left arm down like I have and the right arm lifted and then floating them up from there. Hanging out there for 3, well done. 2, and 1. Take the right foot to the back of the mat. Pivot so the hips are facing forward. We're going to take this lunge into a twist. So you can have the right hand down and take the left arm to the sky. Or if you prefer to have the hands at heart center, taking that variation of twist, then go for it. It's really up to you how you want to enjoy this twist. Key pointers, get those hips nice and low so you feel that stretch out through the hips and through the glutes, and let the back leg, the quad, lift up. bending and lifting the heart up towards the sky here. For 3, it's nice to have a few more limbs on the floor. 2, 1, take the gaze down, take the left hand down, and see if you can take a big step forward with that right foot. So you're bringing the right foot to meet the left, and at this point we're going to take our first gorilla. So taking the hands underneath the feet, bringing the toes right up into that wrist crease. Okay, you can see why it's called gorilla. Think about those arms dangling down. So just looking here, have a little stretch out through the back of the leg. So let the head drop. Don't do it too quickly because you might find yourself going off balance. And if you stood on your hands, you could end up in a heap. So slowly move your way into your gorilla pose. If your knees are very bent, that's fine. If that's a stretch for you, then that works. Good stuff. Okay, so just breathing here. And really important, as I've said a few times, if you lift up through the front muscles in the leg, the quad specifically on this one, you're going to find that you can lengthen those hamstrings a lot more. So muscles work in opposing antagonistic pairs. This really allows you to work deeper into the hammies. So it's a short flow, but we're going to take that on our second side now. So think about what it is that we're doing next. Working into that pigeon chair, slowly releasing the hands from underneath the feet. Give your legs lots of knee bend as you rise up tall. Inhale, and then exhale, hands down to the heart center. So this time it's the right foot that grounds. Have a little play around with moving the weight into that right side before you float up with the left foot. Left foot comes on, hands to heart center to start off. Right knee over right ankle as you sink down. So we're not rounding through the spine. We want to keep that long elevated lift through the torso. Try not to lean forward if you can. Send the sit bones back, possibly bringing the arms up to the sky. So a little pigeon chair for us here. Focusing on that balance, focusing on strengthening and toning that leg. Fabulous. Inhale. Exhale. Standing half moon coming up. For 3, 2, start to think about that transition. And 1, squeeze that tummy as you lift up, release that left leg, start to float it out behind you. Make sure you've got your block in situ if that's what you're using. Okay, underneath that right hand somewhere, right hand comes down. You can take the left hand to the left hip and practice starting to open out through the hips there. And as I said, don't worry if you're feeling a little bit wobbly today. I'm feeling super wobbly for some reason, but that's okay. I'm going to work with it, see what I've got. Kick that left foot nice and high. Remember, you can option here to take that dancer bind if you're feeling it. So bringing the left hand to the left foot and allowing yourself to just maybe straighten out a little bit more through that standing leg. You get that full stretch out. Lovely work. You tight through the quads, obviously you don't want to bring the heel right into the bum. You can press the heel away a bit. Pressing the hand into the foot can be a nice way to feel your way into this. So play around, squeeze the heel into the bum, and then press away, foot into the hands. Okay, let's see if we're fancying that difficult option. Take that left foot out. It might be that you're just working on that extension of the left leg. It might be that you can take the left arm overhead, or it might be, oh, come on, Jen. You can take that right arm to meet the left. Oh, it's not happening today. In practice, it was fine. My balance is all over the place today. I've lost the head game, I have. I'm going to keep that right hand down. I'm happy with that. For 3, 2, Chris has got his hands on the wall, which is a good alternative, actually. And 1, let's make our way to twisted lunge. Bring that left foot down. Pivot through the hips so the hips are facing forwards. And don't forget, hips come down nice and low. Sweep the right hand to the sky or take the hands into prayer and take that twist. Left elbow coming outside of the right knee. Any variation of that twist. As long as you're feeling that increased mobility through the spine. Nice work. For 3, 2. Balance is it first thing in the morning is always a struggle. And 1, let's find that lovely gorilla. Take the right hand down. Big step forward with the left foot. 1 giant stride if you can. Snuggle the palms underneath the feet so the backs of the hands are down on the floor. Toes right into the wrist crease if you can. Lots of knee bend if you need it. Inhale. And exhale to release the head and start to work into the back of those legs once more. Again, as before, not so much that you fall forward, but try to bring the weight a little bit further forward. Play around with it. Just feeling your way into your gorilla pose. Letting the head dangle. Well done. So next we're working into our lunge section. We've got a nice kneeling lunge with the added twist of a back bend. Okay, let's transition before we move into our lunge section. Start to slowly release the hands from underneath the feet. I could stay there in that position for a long time. It's nice. Take the hands down and take a big step back for me into your plank. Come on forwards with the weight and then lower down, low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Nice work, everyone. Back to down dog. Have a little wiggle through the hips if you're feeling tight. And then working into our first lunge. Take the right foot to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, bring the knee into the chest and slowly start to float that right foot between the hands if you can. Now we're going to drop down onto the back knee here, so just check your alignment. Right knee wants to be over the right ankle and that left knee wants to be behind the hip line. So as your hip, if you do a straight line down, you want to slide that left knee down a little bit. On this variation, I want you to tuck the back toes under so the heel is lifted. Sweep both arms to the sky and your breath in. And then as you breathe out, bring that left hand down. It might be that your left hand just dangles down and you feel that lift as we even up the shoulders towards the sky so we're not reaching over towards the left. If you can, we're going to aim to bring our left hand down to our left heel. But the purpose of a lunge is to really open into the hips. So if you find that you're coming up too high in your lunge, then just let the arm dangle down. Maybe take the contact point at the back of the calf instead. Just steering that left hip towards the front of your mat and the left shoulder. And just breathing there into the belly. Perfect. Well done. For 3, 2, and 1. Let the gaze come forward, slowly releasing here. Taking the left hand down if you need to press it up and turn the left foot out. We're extending our side angle now. So sweeping the left arm up and over. That right knee shouldn't have moved, it's still over the right ankle. I'm going to turn the back foot out, heel to inner arch alignment as we stretch and reach out with the left arm. Now, of course, you can take this a little bit further. If you've got a block, you could pop your right hand down on the floor or on the brick. We could have a go at the binds, bringing the left arm down behind you. If you've got the binds, we're going to be doing some binding later for our wild card. So it's a good opportunity to have a little practice there. Press the hips forwards and rotate that left shoulder back and down. So breathing into your extended side angle here. For another 3, 2, keep those hips nice and low, strong through the legs. And 1, releasing the hands. Now take the hands to the floor, leave the right foot where it is, walk your way around to the long side of the mat and bring that left heel in. So we're going to work into goddess pose now. So take the hands onto the hips and then inhale to roll up. So catch the balance on this one. Knees want to be essentially moving out towards the back behind you, where your back is facing. And we're going to take the hands onto the knees. Now we're going to take a little dip through that back shoulder towards the front right foot. Inhale and exhale. Take that dip forward. So you bring the left shoulder towards the right heel essentially, but stay nice and low in the legs. Using the hands if you can, just to press away a little bit. So you're really feeling that into the inside of the hips, into the groin. Well done. Keep working with that balance. Fab stuff. This is our twisted goddess. Just going to hang out here for another breath or two. And obviously we're going to take the same on the other side. But before we do that, we've got our nice lateral stretch from goddess. So still working deep into the legs. So on your next breath in, I want you to come back into center, back into your goddess pose. That's it, stay deep, even coming down a bit deeper if you can. And then this time we're going to take the right arm up and over as you bring the left arm in front of the belly. So we're stretching out through the side body here. You'll feel this through the right hand side. It's challenging in the legs enough as it is. We've added this little stretch out in there as well. You can always lift up through the heels if you're feeling it. Come on deep into those legs. Feel like a ballerina when I'm doing this. For 3. Oh, I've got a sweat on. 2. Whoa. And 1. Oh, take the hands onto the hips and start to straighten out the legs. Heel toe the feet in a little bit. Oh, nice work, folks. Step to the front of the mat. Give those legs a little bit of a shake out. And let's go on the other side. So back into our lunge. This time it's the right leg that steps back. Drop down onto the right knee. Again, have a little shuffle round. Be feeling comfortable in that kneeling lunge. Tucking the back toes to the heels lifted, so you're bridging that gap essentially between the hands and the foot. Make sure the hips are square to the front of the room. Sweep both arms high. And then exhale, releasing down from there. So you can take the hand to the car, you can take it to the foot, but when I take my hand to my foot, my hips come up too high, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So let's maybe untuck the toes, let the hips drop down, and just allow your right hand to travel down towards that back leg. It really doesn't matter whether you touch or not. You can take the bind, fabulous. You're getting enough from this just by floating that back arm down. It is a little bit of a front body opener and a back bend here. So 3, keep extending and lifting those left fingers, making sure the shoulders are moving south. 2. And 1. Let the gaze come down, let the left arm float to the left thigh, tucking the back toes and turning the right toes out. Right arm comes up and over, find your way into your extended side angle. Stay up nice and high and really focus on that long line from the right fingers all the way down to the outside edge of that right foot, which should be pressing nicely into the mat. Maybe taking your hand to the mat option, or maybe taking your bind, and starting again to really focus on what's happening here in the hips and into the side body. If you can pick up that back quad, that right kneecap lifted here. And we apply a little bit of pressure to the inside of that left thigh, taking that left knee out towards the behind you. Perfect. For 3. 2, ready to work into those hips again. Goddess coming up. And 1, use the hands if you need to, or come all the way up, bringing the right heel in to meet the left. You might want to adjust the distance slightly, taking the hands down onto the hip creases initially as you sink down, and then working towards the front of the mat again. So this time it's the right shoulder. Inhale, and exhale, slowly moving over towards that left ankle. So come on down with those hips. As I said before, there's option to lift up through the heels if you want. I can't at this moment because my feet are sliding away as it is. A little bit hot. Fabulous. So after this, we've got our lateral bend, and then we're into hips and core. Final little section before our wild card. Doing a great job, everyone. Okay, 1 more breath. Inhale. Drop those hips. Ooh, there we go. And exhale. Good stuff. Come on up. Keep low in those legs. Bring the heels in a little bit more if you can. Inhale up with the arms. Left arm reaches towards the back of the mat. Stretching out there. Right hand to right hip. Come on down a bit deeper if you can. Try not to hunch that left shoulder up by the ear. Well done. 3. Find that breath. It's strong. 2. And 1. Press on up strongly into those thighs. Release the left hand to the left hip. Walk the hands together and then windmill the arms. Coming back down towards the ground. Stepping back, finding plank. Just taking a breather here in your plank. Realign. And when you're ready, come on down, low plank. Inhale, up dog. And roll it back to down dog. So as I said, we've got hips and core next. It might be that you need a tea towel or a belt if you've got one at this point, as we're going to be taking a couple of binds, and it can really help with the extension of the arms. So we're going to hop to seated. You can always walk the feet forward, your choice. We lift up and float forward. So our first pose, technical name is Marichyasana, sometimes called sage pose, which is what we're going to go with because Marichyasana is a bit of a gobful. So we're going to take the right leg out straight in front of us. I want you to draw this left leg in, okay? Nice and tight. Bring the heel right in towards the hip bone. Now we're going to take the left arm nice and high, come between the legs, and see if you can wrap the left arm in front of the shin. Okay, now at this point, if you think, I'm not going to be able to bring the hands together, take a strap or a tea towel if you roll it up, and you can bring the hands around onto 2 ends of that. Okay, do you want one? Okay, so what you're thinking about here is moving from the hips to get that forward motion. Hip bones are planted. If this doesn't work for you, just take a spinal twist. Okay, so Chris is saying it's going to bother his shoulder. So if you can find that bind with the strap, without the strap, Think about sitting up tall and then moving forwards from the hips. Again, just with the forward fold, heart towards the toes. Extending out long through that right leg. Just breathing into your pose. Well done. Shoulders are relaxed. Nice workout for the shoulders, this one. As well as for the lower back and the hamstrings, you start to move forwards. Okay, the next pose is a bit of fun. This is elephant pose. So releasing the arms and releasing the strap, just pop it to the side. We're going to take this left leg and see if we can snuggle it up on top of our left shoulder, okay, or up onto the upper arm at the very least. So if you're feeling like this is too much of a challenge, just have a play around with the leg here. This is going to open up nicely into the hips, okay. This is your trunk. Planting down with the left hand. Now, if you've ever seen me working into that 8-bound angle, then you'll know sort of what this is a sort of pre-position for this. So we're aiming here to lift our butt off the floor. So engage through the pelvic floor, through the belly, and through that chin lock. So bring the chest towards the chin. Inhale and lift, and then maybe start to think about floating the butt off the floor. It might be that you can float the leg off the floor as well. But that is really tough. Okay, have a work towards, yeah? If you think about moving your hands a little bit further forward and leaning further forwards, that's really helpful with your elephant pose, and having the hands right next to the hips. And play around with that one, okay? So have a play with elephant pose, and then we're going to come back onto our backs. How long have we got? Laughing, good stuff. You might want a brick for this one, so come on back down. We're going to take 2 variations down on our back. Spine is nice and long. We had our right leg out, so we'll stay on that same side so that when we swap, we're nice and even. What you can do is take your elbows onto a block and pin it between your knee or your thigh and your elbows. Appreciate not everybody's got these to hand, so that's okay. You can go straight towards the knee instead. So we're looking at taking that right leg long. Okay, you can maybe bring the thumbs towards the forehead as well. So you're getting that lift of the shoulders off the mat. And all you do is bring that right knee in and then extend it away again. And then bring the right knee back in and extend it away again. You want to make it a little bit harder? Lift up to the sky and then lower towards the floor. So we're keeping that full engagement through the upper abs because we've got our shoulders nice and high. We're taking a slightly asymmetrical crunch because we're moving our elbows just to that left leg. We want to get our shoulders nice and high. I'm going to work in here for another 5, 4, nice work, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, just release down for a minute, have a little bit of a rest. We still want to keep that left leg bent, but move it slightly further forwards now, away towards the hip. Taking the hands to the temples, what we're going to do is keep that right leg long still, and we're going to twist up, normal sit up, and bring that elbow towards the right elbow towards the left knee, and then roll back down. And then squeeze and lift. So it's a cross crunch with that right leg extended for another 5, 4, 3, perfect, 2, abs should be on fire, mine are, and 1. Whoa, well done. Draw the knees in. Just give yourself a few circles. Maybe windscreen, wipe the legs. Anything that feels comfortable to release, particularly through that left hip because you've had it squeezed in all that time. And then rocking and rolling all the way up to seated. And we'll take our bound angle at the end. So this time we're going to extend out through the left leg. Working into our Marichyasana, our sage pose. Bring the right heel right in. Don't feel that you're leaning over to one side. And again, if you want to use your strap, that's fine. Taking the right arm in between the legs and then wrapping around. You can swizz the strap round there. Oh, I've let go now. There we go. And you can take that bind. So think about lifting up nice and high through the torso, planting through the left heel and extending forwards. Trying to keep both sit bones flat on the floor if you can. Full steady breaths. Heart towards the toes, folks. Try to avoid hunching if you can. Shoulders back and down. For 3, 4, 2, And one. Good stuff. Okay, rock that elephant. Taking the right arm underneath the right leg. Have a little move around. Get yourself comfortable. She says, who's comfortable with the legs up above on top of their arms? If you've got blocks at home, it can help by having blocks underneath the hands. That can help you get that lift. Remember, we're squeezing and lifting, and usually you might find you're much better on one side than the other. That's my better side, obs. So move your hands a bit further forward, Chris, sort of halfway down your thigh. Lean forward and have a play at lifting. So you're really engaging all of what we call our banders. Okay, pelvic floor, through the core, and that chin lock. Woo, that's a toughie, that one. As I said, working in towards, moving around through that hip, find a little bit of loosening action. Essentially, it's a core squeeze that's going to get that lift. But 2 hands underneath the blocks are always a winner. Okay, so come on down. Think maybe you want that block once more as we come back into those supine exercises. Left leg can extend away. If you really need to have the left knee bent, then that's fine. It just makes the exercise a little bit less challenging. So if you're wanting to bring the elbows onto a block, that's fine. Obviously, you can turn the block on different sides. I'm going to go knee to elbow, thumbs to the forehead, and let's start with that knee lift. So bent knee, extend to straight leg, or lift all the way up to that 90-degree angle, keeping the shoulders lifted. Slight asymmetrical exercise because you're moving over towards that right leg. So challenging the left side of the body here. For another 5, 4, nice and slow, don't rush. 3, 2, and 1. Fabulous. Okay, releasing there, taking our cross crunch, fingertips to temples, left leg extended, bringing the left elbow over to the right knee, and rolling carefully back down. Inhale, squeeze and rotate. So a little bit of a C crunch here. You can always bring that left knee in as you crunch up and then extend it away if you prefer. I like to have that left leg extended and make my lower abs work a bit harder. For another 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees drop out wide. No rest for the wicked, folks. We're not relaxing into this bound angle. We're going to take a bound angle crunch. Take the arms up over the head, pointer fingers. Inhale and exhale. Roll your way up through the spine. Get the shoulders off the mat. You can have a little pulse at the top if you like. You can come all the way up if you want to. And then release back down. We're going to take another 3 of those. Rolling up with control. Uh-oh. Chris says he's getting trumpy. No, the back on the mat. All right. The back on the mat. Sorry. You need to clarify that sort of thing. All right. Well done. Releasing down from there. Give yourself a little shimmy out, a little shake. Give your arms and legs a wiggle as we limber up for our flamingo pose. So this round we're working into wide-armed handstands and flamingo. Maybe some people might be able to work towards reverse flamingo, which as yet is just a step beyond for me. So come on up to standing. It's tough because it's a balance, and it's challenging because we've got a little bit of a bind there. So the way we're going to start off is by standing on the right leg, and think about just coming into a tree pose initially. You've got the left foot on the right thigh. From here, we're going to start thinking about moving into a bind, a little bit like Marichasa, which is why it's in there in the sequence. We're going to take the knee forwards, and we're going to take the left arm in front of the shin, and think about moving that right arm around the back. Now, if you've got your strap, you can use it in the right hand and fling it in there. So this left foot is then next to the right thigh. So you've got that bind. Use the strap, use a tea towel. So you're pointing the left toes back, keeping nice and strong through that right leg. Inhale and exhale. Start to lengthen through the crown of the head so that the chest becomes parallel to the floor. And if you've ever seen a little flamingo standing there with the rest of his mates, looking all pink and beautiful, like Chris, he's got a dab on. And this is what we're aiming for. Start to move the weight forwards a little bit so you're getting that hip over the right ankle. And herein lies your flamingo. So you're doing a what? Yeah, no, that's fine. If you like I say, he's doing an injured flamingo. If you haven't got that the bind around and that's not working with a strap or a tea towel, then you can simply just take a gap between the fingertips. When you're ready, let's swap over. We're nearly at the bell or armour, but that's okay. So this time it's the left foot that grounds. Right foot comes up. Again, you can start in tree pose if that helps. Taking the right arm around in front of the right shin and bringing the palm out so it's facing the outside of your mat. Bringing the fingertips together if you can. Inhaling and then exhaling, starting to float. Bringing the chest parallel to the floor. So really nice through the hamstrings, great stretch for the upper back. Which is why I've done quite a lot of work into those spaces already, making this more accessible. Pointing the right toes out behind us,